This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This is exactly. I don't mean to sound like Cat Williams.
Tennessee, what happened? How did this Georgia? Dude. Real talk.
Because I'm a single Pringle right now.
Oh my God. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the TTT podcast. I feel so sick to my stomach right now.
Anyways. Oh, okay, I watched one of the episodes. And in the middle of the episode, this man goes, I was talking. I was like, oh, Andrew, you can edit this out, by the way. But we need to do this. And then he just didn't edit it out. So it was really awkward because I was like, yo, edit this out. And then he just didn't edit it out.
Welcome back to the podcast. We are going to be going over. Wow. We are going to be going over the new college football playoff rankings. A lot of stuff happened this weekend. We are super excited to talk about it. We were going to have a guest, but they cannot make it, unfortunately. We will be going over the top 10 teams like usual, standings, and our updated predictions for the national championship, which I may or may not be going to. So let's just hop right into it. But first, I have a little something for our Tennessee fans watching. You can't keep getting away with it. My team, we soloed absolute dominant performance by Stetson Bennett this previous weekend. Am I still fully confident in Georgia? The answer to that question is no. But what some key takeaways that we have found from this game is that Georgia is definitely the number one team in college football right now. There is no debate about it. There's a level of intensity that which this team plays at that is so much different from everybody else. We saw a very, very, very hot Tennessee team come in. They were on a great streak. They were 8-0. They were doing fantastic, beat Bama, which also, by the way, Bama lost against LSU. We'll cover that later in the video. But they come in and the expectations are so high. And college football game day, Pat McAfee, I really hate you so much for singing that song right in front of Luke Bryan's face. But they all predicted Tennessee to win. Everyone was predicting Tennessee to win. And we just came in and we shut out the doubters. And I think that what we can take away from this game is that Tennessee's offense is still amazing. But Georgia's defense is still incredible. And unfortunately, defense, it's a phrase that if you've played football, if you've watched football for your entire life, you know, but it is that defenses win championships. And we can see that in effect last weekend. They were incredible. The Hendon Hooker could not get it done. Multiple shutouts, lots of sacks. I mean, multiple back-to-back sack plays. And, Tennessee's offense was looking like it had never touched the field before in its life. And then on top of that, to make matters worse for Tennessee, Stetson Bennett was actually connecting with his receivers. And
which never happened.
Exactly. And it was glorious. I loved watching Stetson Bennett just completely air it out. He had a fantastic day. Brock Bowers was doing well as well. And we don't use him enough either. But it's really insane to see how much better this Georgia team is than everybody else in the league right now. And I truly think when we go over the rankings, I don't think Tennessee should have dropped as far as they did. But a takeaway from the game is that Tennessee still has a chance. But my God, does Georgia look unstoppable. But what about you, Carter?
No, I agree. Tennessee, they did not play well. Like, we'll just put it that way. Hendon Hooker really didn't play well. I think this game really hurt his Heisman chances because, like, you watched it, it was bad. It was not good. He was not connecting on any passes. He overthrew at least definitely overthrew at least 2 touchdowns, wide open touchdown passes. You just bombed it over their head. And I think, honestly, the pressure got to this team. They haven't played a big game like this away. Not in a home environment. And of course, people say, oh, they beat Bama, but they beat Bama at home. And at home is a big difference in the environment than it is at Georgia. So I think really the atmosphere got to them, and I think probably they didn't take Georgia as seriously as they should. I mean, they let Stetson Bennett run all over him. Literally, Stetson Bennett literally like ran all over the team, which is crazy because it's Stetson Bennett. So it was not a pretty game for Tennessee. They did not play like a national championship contender team. However, I do still think they are a national championship contender team, and this is why. I think this game was a wake up call for them that they are not invincible because that's what they have been this entire season, completely invincible, the top dog. And this game, they showed them that they're not. And I think this is going to be a rallying call for them. And I would not be surprised if I were to see Tennessee Georgia rematch later down the line. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see how it plays out in the college football playoffs. Right now Tennessee's ranked behind TCU, which is fair. TCU is undefeated, but I don't know. I still feel like Tennessee probably should be the 4, just in my opinion, just of how well they have played overall this year. But yeah, man. I mean, Georgia played like the better team. They played like a true number 1, and I think they are probably still the title favorites. But it's gonna be really interesting to see how the rest of the year plays out with the college football rankings because a lot changed. A lot changed this week. So yeah.
Yeah, so and that's a perfect transition into getting into the rankings now. So obviously at number 1 we do have Georgia, the powerhouse of the college football league right now. And then we have Ohio State at 2 and Michigan at 3. Now I want your opinion here about, is this the proper order of this?
I think yes, up until TCU. I still think Tennessee should probably be the 4 spot, but I don't know. I mean, it's fair. TCU hasn't lost a game yet, but at the same time, they haven't played, I don't think, as hard a schedule as Tennessee has. So I don't know. I really think you have to take in strength of schedule into this, into everything, because I think it's a really slept on part of teams. I mean, like some schools are like TCU is undefeated and they've played good opponents, but again, they haven't played Bama, Georgia, Florida. The SEC is really a different breed. I really think it's the hardest division in college football
Oh,
or
easily,
conference
yeah.
by far. I mean, yeah, but it's the SEC. It's crazy, and we have powerhouse teams like Texas and Oklahoma joining, even though Oklahoma kind of sucks right now. But you know, it's just gonna get harder, and I don't like. This is a conversation for the long run, but I don't know if teams like TCU that are outside the SEC are really gonna have a shot at being serious contenders in the long run, because it's rare that a team like that has as much success as like against up like a Bama or Georgia or Tennessee or something like that. So I would say Tennessee should be over TCU just based off strength of schedule. I think if TCU had the schedule Tennessee had, they would have a lot more losses, probably 3 or 4 maybe. But I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched TCU all that much. Maybe they really are that team, and I'd be really happy to see them in the playoffs. I think it'd be great for the sport, get some fresh blood in there, and it really might happen because you do have Ohio State and Michigan, the 2 and the 3 team, playing each other soon. Is it next week or is it? It's soon. I don't know if it's next week. I don't know the exact date, but they're playing each other. So one of them's gonna lose. And based on how bad the loss is, the schedule could change up a lot, or the rankings could change up a lot. You could see a team on the outside edge like LSU or Oregon even maybe try and sneak their way in. It's all kicking off. This is one of the best college football years that we've had in a while, probably since 2019, which isn't really that long ago, but it kind of feels like it. So I'm really excited, man. I'm hyped. And I honestly can't wait to see what happens for the rest of the year, because it's gonna go freaking crazy. I'm predicting a wild bracket.
Oh, for sure. And I want to touch on something that you said earlier. It is, guys, about strength of schedule. Like and I get that TCU's undefeated, and for their efforts, they should easily be top 5. I don't disagree with that. But the problem is Tennessee's only loss was to the number 1 team in the country, and they dropped 4 slots.
Yeah.
To me, that just doesn't seem right. And I get that the committee focuses on actual number record instead of strength of schedule for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, TCU 9-0, fantastic. You guys are a great program.
Yeah.
It is great, and like Carter said, it is great for the sport. The top 10 is so mixed up, man. For the first time in so long, Alabama and Clemson are not in the running. for a college football playoff run, which is incredible. I think it's great that we're getting some diversity. The only problem is, I believe, along with Carter, it should clearly go Georgia, Ohio State, or Michigan, one or two or three. To me, I feel like Michigan's a bit better of a team. We did not see a whole lot of showing out with Ohio State against Northwestern this previous week.
Scary because Northwestern sucks.
Struggled. Exactly.
They're garbage.
So right now, I do have Michigan winning that Ohio State game. Yeah. So my personal ranking is Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State. Tennessee stays at that 4 slot, and then TCU at 5th. Now,
yeah, I completely agree, 100%.
Yeah, and now let's say that Ohio State loses. Now you've got a little bit of a shakeup. Yeah. But is TCU? So if they win, if they go 10-0 against their opponent this week, but Ohio State, or whenever, you know what I mean, whenever the week that Ohio State and Michigan play, if TCU is still undefeated, do you think they'll still be top 5? Or top 4, I mean.
I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. It's hard to say. I think you have to look at the schedule coming up. They play Texas, which is ranked 18th right now, next, and that's going to be a good game because that's a pretty good Texas team. And I'm looking at TCU's schedule. They haven't played nobodies. They've played legitimate programs. And they've played well. So I do think, like you said, TCU is deserving of that spot. But I don't know, man. What do you think? I want to know what you think about that, actually.
Okay, so in the event that TCU wins against Texas and continues to go undefeated, and then we have the Ohio State and Michigan game, let's say that Ohio State loses. So now we have a shakeup. TCU would be undefeated, Michigan would be undefeated, and Georgia would be undefeated. So the real question is Ohio State going to take that 4th spot? TCU moves up a rank, or is Ohio State just going to move down to 3 with 1 loss? And then Tennessee and TCU continue to fight it out for the 4th and 5th slot. My personal opinion, I think even if Ohio State loses, I think in that case it would be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Tennessee, TCU. I think it would stay the exact same way because in the event, guys, the top 5 teams, in my opinion, TCU is the worst. Now that doesn't mean they're a bad team, but I don't think TCU quite has it yet. I am really intrigued to see how this Texas game goes. I think my opinion will be very swayed depending on that outcome. But I still think the top 4 should be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Tennessee. I think that's my final like corrected bracket. I think the committee did a really good job, actually. I don't have a lot of complaints about the top 10. I know a lot of people do, and I get that there's a different opinion for everybody. But you got to look at what's fair. You got to look at how well the teams are doing, their strength of schedule. And to me, Tennessee doesn't deserve to drop 4 spots for that loss. And especially when they started to come back. Now, the score doesn't say it, but they did play well in the 4th. I think that TCU deserves to be in the top 5. But until the end of the season comes, and we will continue to cover this because this is one of the most, like Carter said, one of the most exciting college football playoffs we have seen in a while. I really cannot give an official opinion on TCU until the season's done. I really just can't because I can't judge the power correctly based on the rest of the team in the top 5, their strength of schedule. So do I think Ohio State's a little overrated right now? Yes. But everybody else is rated pretty fairly, I think. And I don't know if the committee would want Georgia and Tennessee having a rematch, though. I'm going to bring it back to you for this because you brought it up earlier and we skipped over it for a few minutes. But in the event that happens, because remember, we still have the SEC championship, which very well could result in LSU versus Georgia. Which is crazy because now LSU, Ole Miss are both ahead of Bama in the West. So Bama is currently 3rd, so I don't think there's any shot of them getting into the SEC chip, especially with LSU beating them. But let's just say, for the sake of it, Georgia wins that game and they stay at the number 1 spot. And we'll go over the scenario if they lose later in the video. But if they win and keep that spot, do you really think the committee is going to give Tennessee a rematch in Georgia in the first round? Or would they give it to TCU, considering that the stuff stays the same?
I don't know, man, but at this point, I really can't see Tennessee. I don't know. I can't see Tennessee being any higher than 4, to be honest, unless something crazy happens, like Michigan and Ohio State both drop, or they both drop a game, meaning the winner of that game also loses a game after that. That's the only situation I could see Tennessee being above 4, but I don't see that happening realistically. And also don't see Georgia waning from the number 1 spot. And the 1 and the 4 always play each other. So I think it is possible. And I also do think that it is possible that Tennessee comes back with revenge and their freaking blood and they beat the piss out of Georgia. Because that team can. So I don't know. Honestly, I feel like if anything, they would do it just because the headlines. But at the same time, a rematch in the national championship would be even an even bigger headline. So I don't know, man. It really depends on, I think, the headline that they can create and if one of the teams above Tennessee drops a game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I mean, it makes the problem with predicting this bracket right now, which is why we have spent so much time off camera doing research about this stuff, is because Michigan and Ohio State play each other in a couple weeks. So we cannot make a proper judgment of who the true powerhouse is besides Georgia, because we can't figure out who's going to win that game. And we can't figure out what the bracket. There's so many different scenarios with college football, especially this early in the season. Early, I say that, but like 3 weeks left of college football, so much stuff could happen still. There's so much stuff that could happen. We could literally see, who knew after this week that Clemson and Bama were both going to drop off? We didn't predict that. Go back to our last
kind of
video.
predicted Clemson dropping off, bro. I've been saying Clemson's going to fall off. I can't lie. I'm so happy that they lost. Dude, I've been saying Clemson's going to drop a game. You can go back to the last episode.
Oh, no, we both
said Clemson's going to drop a game, bro. And they did. Clemson sucks, bro. They are so overrated. And I'm so happy that I'm proven right. Anyways, sorry, what were you saying?
Anyways, the point is who could have predicted that it's been shaken up this much in just 1 week? Imagine 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks, we get into the playoffs and it's completely different from now. What if Oregon gets in? Because Oregon's at number 6, right on the outside cusp, and they're 8-1. And then LSU is right outside of that at number 7. So we could literally see the whole thing shaken up.
Yeah.
There's always upsets that are bound to happen. So we could see Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee taking another loss. Even Georgia. I mean, we've got Kentucky coming up. Does that not bother any of the Georgia fans at all? That's a potential upset. So, it's not likely because I heard you snicker at that. But you have to remember this is college football.
Yeah.
Anything can happen on any given Saturday. So you really cannot make a great prediction for the rest of this bracket. However, I will say I think Georgia are my national championship favorites at the moment. If I had to go with a second, I would probably go with Michigan. A third would be Tennessee. Fourth would be Ohio State. Fifth would be LSU. 6 would be Oregon. And 7 would be TCU. And that is my
TCU
rank.
at 7.
Yeah. Because look, man, until this Texas game, TCU, like Cincinnati last year, they're a smaller school coming in with the big leagues. Great story, but do they have it to win a national championship against a Power 5? It's as Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. Do you see TCU in the headlines upsetting these teams, Carter?
No, I don't really, to be honest.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And another thing, football isn't like basketball. College basketball, you can see, random teams that you've never heard of in your life, like St. Petersburg going to the final or not, Sweet 16, all that. College football is different in the way that, a Vanderbilt never has a legitimate shot of winning a national title. You know what I mean? So it's a bit different. But you're right. I can't see a team like TCU truly consistently, besides a one-off fluke, that is all it takes, to be fair. Beating a team like Georgia or any team ahead of them. Yeah. So, but this is the reason we need this 12-team bracket or 8 team, whatever number bracket we need. We need a bigger college football playoff.
I'm
Thing
pretty
because
sure the new one coming in in the fours and in comment section, please correct me if I'm wrong on this.
I think it's
I
12,
think
right?
it's 12. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And it's coming soon as well. So that's going to be
like
super exciting to cover.
2024,
2020? That's a great question. I will look it up and put it
2026
in the video because I do not know.
I don't know, man.
The point is it's coming in the next year or so. And it's going to be exciting to see that it's going to be more like college basketball, like what you said, because more teams are going to get a chance to upset these bigger ones and go farther. Now, is it, like a massive list of teams like basketball? No. But is it better than just 4? I think so. A lot of people, and this is a whole different video because we're not going to go into depth about our opinions on the 12-team bracket that's coming soon. But just as a base opinion, I think it's a great addition. A lot of people don't think so because they're like, oh, well, if people were complaining that Ohio State and Bama get in every year, now it's just going to be basically guaranteed that they get in, blah, 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 blah. Yes, but look at all the other teams that get to get in too. And they have the chance to upset those big teams. So, yes, we might see Bama and Georgia continue to be in the national championship game with the 12-team brackets, but at least the chances are smaller, and the chances are larger for other teams to make a statement for themselves. Because exactly like what you were saying, Vanderbilt. Let's just say, in the theoretical, that would never ever actually happen. But next season, Vanderbilt goes 11-1. And they get into the top 12 for that new 12 playoff bracket. They have the chance. But if a normal Vanderbilt team went undefeated at 12-0, would they really even be put in the top 4 for a chance at that national championship? Most likely not. Even though they play SEC level opponents.
If Vanderbilt went 11-1, then yes, because they'd be playing SEC opponents. But if it was another team, like some random team, I don't know, what's a random tiny school that no one's ever heard of?
Well, okay, everyone's heard of it, but let's just use Coastal Carolina as an example.
They're 8-1 right now, and they're not ranked.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That should tell you something. But anyways,
the point is,
yes, the point
Carter,
is,
what are your predictions? Let me first of all, I don't think we have done this, but I'm gonna just read out the top 10 for you real fast. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, Oregon, LSU, USC, Alabama, and Clemson make up the top 10. Carter, what are your final predictions for the national championship? Who do you got?
Georgia. Right now, I think I still have Georgia, or not still have. I do have Georgia winning it because last week I had Tennessee winning it. But I have Georgia winning it. But I think it's really close between the top 4. Not top 4, top 3 and Tennessee. I think they all have a legitimate shot. Everyone outside of that, I think it's kind of a long shot. I mean, TCU, I just don't think they could compete at that level yet. LSU, I think can, but I don't think they're consistent enough. Oregon, I don't think Bo Nix could withstand that pressure of the national championship level because, you saw how I failed that big game against Oregon. Yeah. Or not Oregon, Auburn. No, Georgia. The big game against Georgia.
He went through all the teams.
Well, okay, he currently plays for Oregon. He used to play for Auburn. I got fucking confused. Anyways, big game against Georgia. He crumbled. He looked absolutely abysmal, horrible, played like garbage. But since then, he hasn't played in too many prime time big games, and he's played really well. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in college football after week 1. So, but I don't think a big spotlight being on him, I don't think he's ready for that, which is not a good sign for the NFL because I do think he will probably go in the NFL. I think he has the potential to. But I don't think he's going to stand the pressure of the spotlight on him. So I don't think they have a real shot. And anyone past Oregon, I think they don't have a shot because they're just too far down the list. I mean, Alabama, Clemson, like you said, are definitely out of it. USC, I can't really see USC making the playoffs unless
Oh, I don't
really
buy into the USC hype at all.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really watched any games of theirs, but I don't know. Unless something really, really crazy happens, I can't see any team outside the top 6 making it in at all. So, and that's LSU, right? 6. I could see LSU being the only team, like the only real outsider with any shot to make it in. But I do think Georgia right now is my team to win. I think the final standings are going to go number 1, Georgia, number 2, Michigan, number 3, Tennessee, number 4, Ohio State. I think that's going to happen.
I agree exactly. Well, you guys heard our predictions. Please leave your predictions down in the comments as we continue to follow this very exciting 2022 college football season. Let us know who your national championship picks are. We'll post a poll on our Instagram story. If you're not following, go follow, because why wouldn't you? And if you have anything else to share, drop it in the comments, and we will do our best to look at it and cover it. Carter, do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
Like and subscribe if you haven't already said that.
Real talk. One of our videos is very close to hitting 1,000 views for the first time.
Yeah, go watch our college uniform tier list video. It's almost at a K.
Exactly.
So that'd be really a big accomplishment for us, because that'd be our first video to hit 1,000.
Exactly. It would be.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
No, I don't even know, bro. I'm so tired.
No, but that would be a huge accomplishment for us. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. We never asked that of you, but we are today. So we will catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time on another banger. Yep. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And now it's time to take my Be Real.
What's wrong with you?